The new Brexit inspection charge is a huge extra expense for nothing, says firms. We're going to read into this more from the Financial Times, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from the Financial Times with the headline that the new Brexit inspection charge is a huge extra expense for nothing, says firms. The checks on food and plants in Kent have left businesses and now seen higher costs. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. So, but Regan, we already know about nuisances and issues when it comes to inspections. Yes, you do. What you also don't realise is that many of these charges, that these charges, they've not been doing the actual inspections themselves, and yet they're still being charged for them. Some of these businesses. Oh, yes. Oh, some of them haven't been done properly, and yet, despite that, they're still being charged for it. Yeah, that's so the government is facing a bit of a hammering over this. And obviously, you just can't throw the bucket at the kitchen sink at the Labour government for this. This was all set up under the Conservatives. This is what they planned out. This is what they said they would do, and they kept kicking the can down the road and leaving it for other problem. And now that a Labour government is in, now they have to try and fix this mess. And this mess is obviously causing aggravation for businesses, and they need to get a grip on it. They need to get a grip on this, and they need to get a grip on this as soon as possible. So, what some of these huge expenses for nothing? Yeah, well, let's read a little bit into it, and I'll dive more in as we go along, guys. So, custom agents and businesses have complained to the government that they have been charged for checks on goods that never took place after post-Brexit controls on food and plant imports from the EU were imposed on UK importers. In an online meeting on Tuesday with officials from the Department of Environment, Rural and Food Affairs, DEFRA, dozens of disgruntled agents highlighted errors with the new system that one called chaotic. Who's surprised by this? Anyone? Anyone surprised by this? Anyone at all? Not really. In one case, a consignment could not be unloaded at a government-run border inspection facility at Severton in Kent because of a design flaw in the inspection bay. A design flaw. Yet the shipment owner was still charged for the inspection, the officials were told in the meeting. Wait. So they had one case here where they couldn't unload the consignment because of the flaw in the design bay. Okay. So they couldn't inspect it properly, but they still charged them for it. You can't charge them and not do it. That's not their fault. That's your fault. Others said they were paid for physical checks only to have their shipment cleared by a computer system, according to two people who dialed into the meeting. Okay, I don't know about that one, but that's... I don't think a computer can yeah, we haven't gone that far in technology, so that's a pretty bad one. From April, a new charge was levied on anyone importing food or plants through Dover and the Eurotunnel in Folkestone in order to recoup the cost of running the government's Severton border control, which inspects the imports. Trade groups report that bills for the common user charge have already run into tens of thousands of pounds for using smaller businesses. The added costs have prompted calls for the UK's new Labour government to expenditure a veterinary deal with Brussels that could remove or reduce the need for inspections and paperwork on most plants and animal exports. Talks are currently due to begin next year. William Bain, the head of trade policy at the British Chamber of Commerce, said the deal was essential to prevent higher costs being passed on to consumers through higher prices. We would urge the government to work with businesses to find ways to mitigate this impact, he added. During this week's online meeting, Steve Habershaw, a customs agent in Dover, asked why he had been charged when most of his consignments had been automatically cleared without checks. Again, another why. Answers on a postcard, please. The border situation at Seventon is rather chaotic, he told officials, before asking whether revenue from the charge will be spent to improve this. Additionally, a contingency feature that clears goods after 2 hours to avoid queues at ports left many businesses frustrated that they paid for checks that never took place. Yeah, and I don't blame them for being mad about that. Trade groups have warned of higher food prices and squeezed margins for importers as a result of the charges of all agri-food consignments entering through Dover and the Eurotunnel. The charges were introduced on the 30th of April, with the first payments taken last month. One UK business, Han Pro, a specialist importer of Hungarian food, told the Financial Times it had to increase its staffing by 20% just to deal with the paperwork from the new checks. The company, which employs 20 people, took on 4 more people and said it had incurred a total of £8,000 in extra charges since the border was introduced. £8,000 more that they have to pay now in order to continue their stuff into it. See, this is the thing. What's the point? Why even do it? Why is this cost even worth it? £8,000 more. It's just a huge extra expense for nothing, said the managing director, Filippo Illis. Richard Catt of the Freight Lesion Group said the pressure of the additional charges on small businesses was difficult to swallow, particularly given that the government was only carrying out the lowest possible number of checks on goods. Sally Cullimore, Policy Director of Horticultural Trades Association, which represents the UK's plant nursery industry, said one small business member had received a bill for £27,000 for the first 3 months of border checks. What? That represents around 7% of this company's profits, which is significant when you consider that this is an entirely new cost that delivers little to no benefit to the business, she said. The new post-Brexit border checks were introduced last April by the previous Conservative government after 5 separate delays. The government has estimated the new border would cost £330 million a year, but some industries estimated have put that total cost as high as £2 billion. At the time of the launch, the government said it had capped the cost at a maximum of £145 per consignment, but the industry warned that charges will quickly multiply for businesses such as plant nurseries and delicacies that imports multiple products types in a single lorry load. For sectors bringing in lots of small plants or even small consignments, when you hit the cap of £145, even for a smaller trolley of plants, said Colin Moore. She added that a 30-day deadline to pay, despite the government invoicing after 90 days, was affecting the cash flows of business. Suzanne Schmeider, sorry if I mispronounced the name, the importer of German deli, which has bought German food products to the UK for the past 20 years, says its bill has come to £550, but only because our supplier in Germany is still unable to provide us with our range of products. She added, the main issue is the paperwork, which means we couldn't import as much as we wanted. Brexit, red tape. Red tape. Nobody wanted this, by the way. Therefore, said the government was committed to seeking a veterinary agreement that would prevent unnecessary border checks and get our great food exports moving again and tackle the cost of food. However, in the meantime, it will continue to levy the Commons user charge in order to pay for operational costs of the inspections points at Severton to protect our biosecurity, added. However, Peter Harwick, the trade policy advisor for the British Meat Processor Association, said Severton also raises a Port Health Authority charge on all medium and high-risk goods that are overwhelmingly never sent to physical inspection, and something that really takes the biscuit. Yeah, no biscuit. There's another word I could use, but I'm not going to. Let's remember, is this what businesses really voted for? No. Remember, this is not something that we voted for. You didn't really vote for this. And at the end of the day, guys, it's you who are going to end up paying the cost for these. You're going to be paying the cost for these. This is the price of sovereignty, as people like to keep going on about it. You know, it's incredibly frustrating. But it just means eventually that many of these businesses are just not going to bother. It's just not worth the hassle. I mean, most EU businesses have just said bollocks to it and just gone away. But this did not need to happen. But yeah, the fact that some of these that they are supposed to be doing these inspections, and some of them are not even doing the inspections at all, and they're still being charged for it. Like, what the hell? Like, what's going on here? But we already knew, and it's been said numerous times, that we were just not ready for it. We just don't have the facilities, we don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the good costs, and we don't have the people. We just don't have all of this. And we are still in this situation. Still in this situation. So how are those Brexit benefits coming? Answers on a postcard, please. So what do you guys think? What do you guys make of the new Brexit inspections? There have been a huge extra expense for absolutely nothing for some firms. How does that make you feel? Does it bother you at all? Are you happy that you are paying more out of your pocket now at the cost of Brexit for your sovereignty? Let me know your thoughts and more down in the comments section below. If you found this video interesting, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.